city says that you can't target this person who lives inside that zone with any type of a message and force a message upon them. And to that I'll agree. But they also said we can't be here at all. And yet the court case, according to the way it's documented in the court briefs that I've seen, state that we can walk through there with whatever we want. So to break the confusion between the city council, the police department, and the judge, we just want to get a clarification. Will we do that today? I don't know. It might get more muddled. Remember, there's politicians
So how can
involved.
she be walking through with a sign targeting if she's not supposed to be in the free speech zone? Is she in violation of the ordinance?
No, she's marching.
Because she's marching.
She's marching through the neighborhood.
So you can actually picket, but you can't do what?
You can't target a resident. You cannot trap people in their residence and force your message upon them.
Okay, I got you. Did we do that last time?
No.
But
No.
why did they say that we did?
Because Josh said we did.
Oh, okay.
They said we bullied her. I specifically recall standing across the street instructing our people to get out of the way because I did not know that was Josh. All I saw was a couple with a baby coming down the street, and I said, make room for that couple.
And you didn't
That was not
and you
bullying.
didn't recognize
No,
her.
I had no idea that was her.
And you never saw her before?
No.
Okay.
Now, if that was bullying, and everybody got out of the way.
So you're saying that like these people that are marching through the buffer zone can march, but because she's standing, she has to be outside.
Well,
Is that what you're saying?
I think we want to clarify that one, and that's what we don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out.
We're testing.
Other questions? Comments? Okay. Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, nothing to report other than what Mr. Knight just did. If you have any questions about the activity that we had over the weekend, I'll be happy to answer any of those questions.
Yes, Mr. Brown, I don't know if anybody else received phone calls questioning exactly what we'll say the terms of the ordinance that we passed and how it applied to this weekend, and I would, if we could just explain that one more time without compromising the status of anything that's currently going on from a legal standpoint, but if you could just walk through what the ordinance actually addresses and how that was applied this weekend, I would appreciate that.
Sure.
This is the protest ordinance.
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
picketing within the 50-foot buffer. The federal judge, as you know, ruled in favor of the facial constitutionality of the ordinance. He upheld it. So what we're anticipating now is perhaps some as-applied challenges. I think someone sent you a newspaper article where a city in Maryland, I think, paid a large settlement, but that was totally distinguishable if you read the article. I mean, that was just police officers without a constitutional ordinance, just stifling free expression. So the picketing ordinance prohibits picketing within 50 feet on city right-of-way where the target is resident, or you believe the target is resident in the home. So over the weekend, I had a number of conversations with officers on the scene. It seems that the as-applied challenge they were looking to generate would be because the family wasn't home. So assurances were made that the ordinance will be enforced if the family is trying to enter the home or is home. Then the question becomes, what about neighbors? You know, this is really only an ordinance that is designed to promote domestic tranquility for people who are targeted by picketers or protesters. There's still the loitering ordinance, the light ordinance, the noise ordinance. There are any number of other ordinances that could come into play. You can't obstruct the sidewalk. You can't obstruct traffic. So folks who may be living on either side of the home still have those protections. And just as a matter of just, the size of the buffer, an adjacent landowner might have an incidental benefit if the ordinance is protected, because the picketers might be in front of his or her home and within the 50-foot buffer zone of the targeted residence. So basically what occurred simply was we decided not to create an as-applied challenge on this issue, since the whole purpose of the ordinance is to protect the domestic peace and tranquility of people in the home, and they weren't there. Because that you will get tested. I mean, the attorneys representing this group regularly test and challenge things of this type. So we were trying to be judicious in how the ordinance was applied. Thank you.
I'd just like a little clarification on size of signs. There is none, or whatever there is of that, because that is the other issue for me, because I go out onto Aloma up there a lot of times, and the signs that people are carrying, not sitting down, but carrying, are very large signs. So is there anything that applies to size of signs?
Well, Mr. Wiggins could talk to you about the specifics, because you do have a sign ordinance, but that would be the next as-applied challenge, whether your sign ordinance as applied to purely political or religious speech could be upheld. Certainly at some point the signs clearly become dangerous if they're impeding the ability of drivers to safely, turn a corner or something of that nature. Obviously, signs can't impede safety, number one. Secondly, if the signs are parked in front of someone's home and it's upsetting to them, your loitering ordinance, and loitering ordinances are generally upheld around the country. The city's loitering ordinance says that a budding homeowner, can complain to law enforcement if folks are loitering with signs that are upsetting. Any other questions?
And we have no laws at all that govern what can be on signs? It's like the discussion of pornography. You know it when you see it. Some things are extremely...
You don't have any ordinances that go towards this content of the signs. Certainly, if there were, at some point, your adult entertainment ordinance could come into play, but if it was more of a nudity or sexual nature. But I understand the signs are upsetting, but generally the courts have said these types of images are constitutionally protected, and you can't. I mean, you're basically teeing up a content-based, viewpoint-based municipal action. So I guess I would end this by saying, to the extent the city wishes to get answers to these questions, the police could take a different approach. But if we're trying to carefully pick the battles where we're going to, have a great chance of success, I would counsel you against regulating or attempting to regulate the content of signs in this religious context. It would be very difficult to do, and instead tie everything to safety, domestic tranquility, things of that nature.
And I don't think it's just religious; it's political and everything else.
Yes, sir. Political.
Well, we do control political signs, which is interesting. The difference being those that's an election, and they're fixed. That's a good point. They're put in the ground; they're not being carried. Yes. We have, by practice, not regulated the size of signs people are carrying. Fixed, yes. Yes, if they put it in their yard or on business property, congratulations, or right, for lease, or.
And that ordinance hasn't been challenged in either, and so.
Okay. Any other questions? I guess we can go to the city attorney directly. Any other reports, Mr. Brown?
No, sir.
I'm going to then move to our financial.